So, I have been covering all kinds of AG keyboards lately, and Mchose has been one of my center point of AG keyboard benchmarks in the recent times, and there has been the A68 whose review is dropping soon, and the A60 Pro. And now, after A60 and A68, Mchose has released the JET 75, which is also, spoiler alert, an S-tier keyboard, ranked by the famous AG keyboard testers and YouTubers. So let's have a look today to the JET 75, and I have been using this keyboard for the past 2 weeks or so, and this will be my initial impression about this keyboard. So let's start with the unboxing. And this keyboard was sent to me by Tech Diversity themselves, and they are the official Mchose distributor in Bangladesh. And the keyboard is obviously from Mchose, and the box this keyboard comes in is a pretty minimal one, and this is a 75% keyboard as written in the front, with also very little information about the keyboard written on the box, which is kind of a bummer in my eyes, since you can't necessarily get all the infos about the keyboard on a quick glance. But the barcode on the side has the keyboard name and the switch type written on it. So that's about it for the box, and now let's open the keyboard. So opening the box, at first we get a handy card, and that has nothing much to say about it, just a quick guide about the keyboard with the function key combinations. Then we get a handy guide where the quick shortcuts are listed, which has the backlit adjustments and low light settings. And now let's move into the rest part of the contents. On the top there's the accessories box, and opening it we get the switch puller in a plastic packet, and this is the pretty generic puller. The keycap puller is on the one end and the switch puller is on the other end. Then we get 2 extra switches, which are the Kailh God switches, and they're the flagship switches for the JET 75, which are absolutely amazing based on my personal testing so far. Then we have the braided Type-C to A cable, and boy oh boy, this is one hell of a premium cable, which is though a bit stiff, but not in a bad kind of stiff. It's more of a premium kind of stiffness, and it has a pretty solid feel to it. The braided sleeve is pretty thick, and you can shape the cable however you want, and it's a pretty long cable. Then again, sorry for talking this much about the cable. It's rare to see such kind of good cable to come with a keyboard, which I haven't seen with the A68 or A60. So that's about it for the accessories, and let me quickly get past the extra stuffs, and now to the keyboard. But before going to the white keyboard, let's look at the other box. So for the other box, there's the another version of the JET 75, and it has the similar box contents. And opening the box, at first we get the standard paperworks, and opening the accessories box we again get 2 extra switches, and this time these are the Starburst magnetic switch, which are from Leobog. And again there's the premium braided cable, and this time in black, matching the color of the keyboard. As for the other accessories, it again comes with the generic keycap and switch puller combo. So now let's hop into the keyboard. Right now we have both of our keyboards here, and both of the keyboard comes in generic dust cover with the Mchose logo imprinted on them. It's pretty thin and nothing fancy, but I have no complaints about this. And now let's get both of the keyboard out of the plastic bag. And finally we get our hands on the beautiful and gorgeous JET 75 in both black and white color. Personally, I think the black version looks more stealthy and cool, and it stands out to me a bit more. And both of the keyboards are 75% obviously, and also they are pretty heavy. It seems like both of the keyboard have a solid build quality, and they also seems to have pretty good sound dampening. Let me check on a bit. Yeah, it seems they have quite a bit thick sound dampening material inside both of them. So this JET 75, as I have said before, is a 75% keyboard without any kind of knob. There is a delete key in place of the knob, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Both of this keyboard comes with topographic keycaps, and you might be eager about the RGB shine through for these topographic keycaps, which I will be showing here. And the RGB glow seems to be pretty good on both of the keyboard, but the white one has a slightly better RGB splash and a bit more glow overall. And the case of this JET 75 is made out of hard ABS plastic, so it looks and feels pretty premium, and there is a matte finish to the keyboard which also feels pretty grippy. The thickness also seems to be pretty decent, not overly thick or definitely not thin. Overall it has a pretty solid profile to the shape. It also comes with the default tilted angle, which seems to be around 5 to 6 degrees of inclination. And for connectivity, we also see the Type-C port on the top, so it seems the keyboard is wired only. Aside from that, the top of the keyboard looks pretty clean, and on the back, both the white and black boards looks pretty clean, and there are 2 stages of fit on the both sides, and they are snappy enough. Not to mention, there's the RGB logo, which can be customized as I have seen in the user guide. And now let's take the keycaps off. So both of the keyboard comes with double-shot PVT keycaps, and Mchose has been consistently delivering when it comes to shine-through PVT keycaps, and I am honestly impressed by it. As you can see, the black keycaps have a grayish mold inside, and the white ones also have a similar grayish mold internally. So both of the keycaps supports RGB pass-through properly, and you can comfortably game or type in a dark environment. So for my measurements, the alpha seems to be around 1.8mm thick on the keycaps. For the modifiers and the spacebar, I'll check and share more details in the full review video. And now let's take a look at the switches. Taking the switches out, we have two types of switches here. The first one is the Kailh God switches, and they're the flagship switch for the JET75. These switches are made by Kailh, and they feature PC top and bottom housing. They're smooth, snappy, and absolutely fun to type on, and I have been personally loving the Kailh God switches as much as the Starburst switches. They're also great for gaming thanks to their low travel, and these 2-pin holophonic switches are compatible with most of the holophonic supported keyboards that supports 2-pin. Next up is the Starburst switches, and I have to double check the manufacturer, where I'm pretty much surprised they're from Leobog. These switches are also incredible, and they're right before the Kailh God switches in my favorite list. These switches also comes with PC top and probably POM bottom, and that's the POM stem, and the both switch types features the LED diffusers, so the RGB shine through is pretty nice through them. And I personally found the Starburst switches more fun to type on. I personally really don't have any kind of complaints about both of the switches, but I'll talk more about the dead zone and other technical details in the full review video. And speaking of the switches, you might be curious about the PCB. This keyboard uses the 2-pin Horsop holophonic PCB with north-facing LEDs, which makes sense since the keycaps are also north-facing, and the plate is aluminum, and unfortunately there's also no other plate options for this keyboard. That's a bit bummer for me because it does affect the sound profile. As for the stabilizers, they're decent, well balanced, and sounds good, so there is nothing major to complain about. And now let's have a quick look to the software, and I'll be going through the web app of the Mchose, and here you can see we have the JET75, and getting through it takes a bit of time to load. And here we get the first glimpse of the JET75's software. On the top left corner, you can create profiles or import profiles from other users, and this is the default configuration, which can be renamed or exported. And in the middle, we have the basic control of the keyboard. Here you can set the lighting effects, the speed and brightness, the color palettes of the RGB based on our personal preference. And in the trigger tab, we have all the settings regarding the switch customization. Here you can see you have all the switch types for the JET75, or most probably all the switch types from Mchose. And we can calibrate the switch here. We can set the actuation distance. We can set the rapid trigger based on our preferences. We can set the dead zone settings. We can manually customize the keys. There are 3 configurations. 3 of these has their individual set profiles. And for key remapping, it is pretty basic, and you can set the keys as your liking. And in the advanced tab, we have the rapid snappy or snap tap, the SOCD, the DKS, and each have their functions explained, and you can customize them as your preference. And in the preference tab, we have all the settings. We can set the keyboard at 8 kHz, and it will again check for the keyboard, and now it has 8 kHz. The key repetition optimization to improve stability, the berserk mode, the stability mode, and winlock key switch to Mac, and adaptive dynamic calibration. This is a new thing, but it won't matter that much. And for the others tab, it's pretty simple, the firmware settings and everything else. So yeah, it's a pretty robust software experience, and probably one of the best software experience in the market right now. So regarding the performance of the keyboard, in my 2 weeks of testing, they have been pretty consistent, and I didn't have much critique on the hardware side since I haven't opened the keyboard yet. The keyboard performs incredibly well with the gameplay test, and I have been loving it since I got it. But I'll still be doing more in-depth testing, and I have been playing Valorant, CSGO, where fast key inputs matters obviously, and the keyboard has been performing flawlessly, but I'll still be doing more in-depth testing to identify any kind of issue and check the internals properly. Overall, in my 2 weeks of usage, the keyboard felt like a pretty solid product. So yes, I would definitely recommend this keyboard for purchase, but if you want more validation, you'll have to wait for my full review video, which will take a bit more time, but still I am very optimistic about this keyboard. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys soon. All of my social links are in the description box if you want to contact me, and my Discord link will also be there. Till then, stay safe and thank you for watching.